Hey folks, MCU'S Bleeding Edge in the house. Waiting for Andre's pop culture guy to show up to be on the panel with us tonight for Batman: The Dark Knight Returns Part 2. Our breakdown and recap here on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge. I'm Jeff S, aka TrueKnowledge, co-host and creator of the MCU'S Bleeding Edge. With me on the panel tonight, Aston's back. What's up, Aston? Cyber's
Doing
back.
good.
What's up, Cyber? Coming off a great week moderating. Andres will be here eventually. In the meantime, folks, the best way to support us, as always, if you do want to support the MCU'S Bleeding Edge, is simply to like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Turn on notifications on YouTube so that you can actually know when we put new content out, when we live stream, yada, yada, et cetera, et cetera. So, Batman: The Dark Knight Returns Part 2. A lot of bold lights, but other than that, pretty solid movie. We're going to change it up and do ratings on this one to start the show off instead of ending it for once. Flip the script. So I'm going to ask you guys, hey, what's up, Andres? So we'll start off with an opening rating and an opening take on the film before we delve into the scene by scene. And I'll go to you first, Cyber. Give me your rating for the film, and then we'll compare. After we get done with the show with the scene by scene, we'll go back to our ratings again. But give me your rating and give me your take on the film.
Okay, so to start off, I'll give it a 7. I did enjoy it more than the first part. I thought this one had a lot more action. The introduction and inclusion of Superman, I think, made it more fun. And the Russian bad guy chick at the beginning just like cracked me up. And why the hell was she like topless and just had
she was
over her tits? I was like cracking up watching it the whole fucking time.
And
I'm
she
like,
was a bull dyke.
She was more like, I felt she wasn't really like that. I think she was more like, what's her name? That was married to Sylvester Stallone. That was in Beverly Hills Cop 2 and
Brigitte Nelson.
Yeah, Brigitte Nelson. That's who she made me think of. But yeah, that cracked me up so hard, especially because this is supposed to be in the 80s. So it's very Russian hard. So I think that's super funny.
But she's not Russian, bro. She got swastikas on her tits, bro.
Well, I knew that, but I was trying to be nice.
Let's not confuse it, bro. Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno, man.
Bruno. But yeah, those swastikas, the German, I guess, apparently, I thought was pretty interesting. But so I give it a 7 because of that, because that was just hilarious. But yeah, the inclusion of Superman, 7, and but still, I would say overall, like the animation, once again, I thought was crappy, like the first one, and the overall like direction of the film, I thought was better than the first film. And I definitely thought that there was some very interesting moments in it. So yeah, I have to give it a 7.
Okay, Andre's pop culture guy.
Yeah, part 2 is much better. Excuse me. Part 2 is much better than part 1. I agree with Cyber. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I thought this was a much cinematic film. I mean, come on, you got Joker and Superman. What more you ask for? And I thought this really captured the essence of the graphic novel, which is great. So I think this is the best DC adaptation. It's not my favorite. It's definitely top tier, but it's not my favorite in my ranking. But it's one of the best adaptations I've seen so far.
Aston.
I'm gonna go with out the gate. I got to give it a 6 because I preferred the previous one, the first entry, the story in general. I loved, like I said, we all said we loved the comic. Those of us who actually read the comic, we know like it is what it is. Don't mean I gotta like the story. You get what I mean? I respect it. I love it because I grew up with it. But Yeah, I got to give it a 6. As it opened up with bull dykes and whatnot. But me being a Croatian and stuff, we winning medals at the Olympics. I know, like, y'all don't care about that shit because you win a lot, like, just because you play basketball and shit and run fast. But shout out to Sandra Perkovic and everybody who came home. Braća Sinkovic, man. Can't have a Croatian on a stream and not shout out the Olympians, man. I know we all nerds here, but it's a big thing, man. Big thing, man. 6. That's it.
Okay. I'm going to give it a 7.25 and just hit on the animation. Like Cyber said, is pretty not terrible, but it's also not like anything to like remark on at all. There's nothing about it that stands out to anybody. I think that as we go through the review, nobody's going to point out during the review, oh, this shot was shot really well, or like, you know, like this scenery background looked really great, or something like that, because it doesn't look like that. It's not that kind of film. Like maybe some of the other DC animated films have that vibe. So and then also Superman breathed life into it, but they could have made this movie into one movie. Like the runtime on this was only like an hour and like change. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, they could have made this into one movie. It didn't even have to be into 2 parts. I don't even know why they did it like that, but like I would have liked it better in one movie. I think, to be honest with you, they could have cut out some of the fat and just did it in one film. And I think that would have been more digestible for me. I would like to see a Superman in the movie, like, you know, like that. He was a good piece. Anytime you add Superman, that's always good. So basically, in late 1986, feigning remorse for his past, Joker convinces the doctor asshole Wolper, who considering the first as his favorite patient, to take him on a talk show and tell his story and make plans for his escape with Abner, an old henchman who supplies him with mind-controlling lipstick. Meanwhile, Clark Kent, aka Superman, who works as a government operative in exchange for being allowed to covertly help people, is asked by President Ronald Reagan to end Batman's vigilantism. Framing these events is a growing hostility between the U.S. and the Soviet Union over possession of the island of Corto Maltese. As Batman's continued presence humiliates the national authorities, Commissioner Yindel orders Batman's arrest, and Clark warns Bruce that the government will not tolerate him much longer. So I'll stop there. During that part of the movie is when we see Bruno, I believe, and yeah, it is. I'll tell you what I put in about Bruno in my notes. I had it as Bruno's guys talking the mutant gibberish. Slicer, dicer, Dyson. Oh shit! Bruno is a bull dyke. What a shot! Swats is on titties. Really? The Batman is there with Robin. That's what I wrote down. There you go. So, what are your thoughts, Andre's pop culture guy, on that part of the movie?
I mean, as I say from last part 1, we got teases of the Joker like getting wake up from his like catonic state, and so it was really cool to see the Joker full force. By the way, I really like the voice actor that plays that voiced the Joker, Michael Everson. Someone correct me. The famed person from Persons of Interest. Like he was a good voice for the Joker. I mean, very different. I get it.
Michael Emerson.
Michael Emerson.
Michael Emerson.
Thank you. So Michael Emerson, I thought he did a really good job of voicing the Joker here. You know, it's very different from the Jokers we heard, you know, from Jack, Keith, and Mark. You know, I thought he had a very unique kind of voice for the Joker, especially in the entrance scenes. But I really enjoyed that. And then I really dug, you know, this like opening scene with, you know, Batman doing like a, you know, like doing detective work and stopping this crime that happening with these like Joker henchmen trying to get like I guess laughing gas. And then all of a sudden Superman arrives in that scene. So that was really cool. So yeah, I think the opening sequence just gets you right into part 2, which I really appreciate. You know, like no setup or no, you know, because like, you know, again, you read the book, it's just how it is, and I appreciate that.
This film is the 16th film of the DC Universe animated original movies. And I also want to mention that there's also the scene where you see Superman take out that train. Aston, your thoughts?
Yeah, for me personally, I enjoyed, of course, the cameos and everything because I read the comics. So I'm going in knowing what it is, but I thought they would have done some things different. And just pointing out and agreeing with the previous point of the runtime, because I agree with you, Jeff. This could have easily been a 2.5 hour long feature, and I would have no problem. And it probably would have ran, smoother, because I feel it peaked in the first movie, even though Superman shows up and everything. But like Andrea said, in this opening scene, I didn't too much. I wasn't invested. I wasn't invested in the opening as much. I mean, the Joker did show up. I didn't like the voice personally. I prefer Hamill. But I grew up with him. Maybe it's an age thing or something. Like, it's just Conroy and Hamill are the guys for me. But like in my mind, I'm like, wasn't Peter Weller the guy or something for doing the voice of Bruce in the first one, right? But it's a different guy in this one, or am I?
No, it's Peter Weller again.
It is, right? Okay, because like I couldn't get past that at certain moments because I watched it in two separate settings again, just to like try get notes. And the opening, like I felt it was too much. Like they could have covered her up, bro. That's why, like, there's the joke we don't talk about Bruno. Like, what the hell? Frank Miller really was, it is a faithful adaptation, and I would have preferred if they took they censored certain things. They could have done it in a more tasteful way, so that might have also put me off for the intro. So yeah, that's it's a good adaptation, but it was a little much for me. Felt a little edgy for no reason. So that's my 2 cents.
Cyber.
All right, so the beginning of the film is really entertaining, I thought. It really pulled me in right at the get-go. Like I said, Bruno popping up, being shirtless with big titties and swastikas on her tits. I was just like, what the fuck am I watching? I was like I thought we were going Russian power here, but yet all of a sudden we have like a German Nazi going on here. I don't get this. I feel it was a conflict of interest there. But anyways, that was hilarious. And those two guys that were like supposed to be her like followers or whatever were hilarious too, I thought. And then Batman popping up as that old big ass lady. I was like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, I thought it was a troll at first, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And like, where would you get a costume like this, Batman? Like, how do you look like this? I mean, it's kind of similar to, I guess, Robin Hood, in Robin Hood Men in Tights when he shows up as the heroist or whatever.
Yeah, it was foul, man. It was it was just crazy because he couldn't sell himself. Like, how does he sell himself as an old lady? This guy looks like a linebacker. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, sorry, man. I agree with you, man. It was really creepy and weird.
And so, we get that intro to Batman, and he's like beating up this chick, and and basically eventually Superman pops up and he says he wants to have that conversation with them, because they don't like, since he's returned, they don't like him being there again. And so they have that conversation afterwards at his farm or wherever, his house or whatever. And they're both like dressed in like normal clothing, talking to each other. And you look at Superman and you go, wow, Superman hasn't aged at all, but Bruce looks like he's in his, 60s when he's supposed to be only 55. And it's kind of funny how like I would too. So basically we have that conversation, which was kind of like interesting. I thought, like I said, introducing Superman into the film was fun. I like that aspect. We got the introduction to the new commissioner, who that definitely was a not a good replacement because she is psycho, I think. And And so that was interesting, and how Gordon was like, yeah, I think I can't really say much here because I would mess up what she's really like. And that to me was saying, like, Gordon's like, I don't agree with this person taking over for me. She's not the right person, but I gotta say this anyways, type of deal. And you know, just very, very interesting how they played it out. I thought it was kind of interesting. And I mean, pretty much leading up to your end point. I mean, this whole beginning portion was kind of interesting. Like I said, there was some really great action in it. I thought there was some very interesting characters. This new Robin character being this chick still cracks me up too at the same time because she looks like the weirdest nerd ever. And like, how would that person be really great at being a Robin? I have no idea, but I get it that it's a part of the graphic novel. And so I just like that whole section. I think is kind of interesting and very exciting. It has some great action moments. Overall, an okay beginning.
Okay, so Joker makes his talk show appearance on David Endocrin's show as Batman fights with the GCPD on the studio roof. While they fight on television broadcasting, Joker kills Dr. Wolper after the latter insulted Batman's psychology. Gasses everyone in the studio to death, including Endocrine, and escapes. Those really weird robotic twins show up flying around and shit and everything during the scene. It's really, really intense. I don't know what their whole deal is. He finds Selena Kyle and uses one of her escorts and his lipstick to take control of a congressional representative who calls for nuclear strike on the Soviets before falling to his death. Batman's investigation leads him to Selena, whom he finds bound and dressed like Wonder Woman. Kelly notices cotton candy on the floor, and Batman deduces that Joker is at the fairgrounds. There, Kelly accidentally kills Abner while Batman pursues the Joker, who indiscriminately guns down dozens of people. As Batman corners a wounded and partially blinded Joker, he admits to feeling responsible for every murder Joker has committed and intends to kill him. In the ensuing fight, Joker stabs Batman repeatedly after shooting him, and Batman partially breaks Joker's neck in front of witnesses, rendering him a quadriplegic. Joker tells Batman he will be branded a criminal for killing him, then commits suicide by completely breaking his own neck. The GCPD arrives, and Batman, bleeding profusely, fights his way to Kelly and escapes. This Batman can take some punishment, dude. I'll tell you what. So I'm going to flip it around this time on the panel and go the other way around. So, Cyber, you start.
So this was another, I thought, really fun action sequence. I mean, the whole Joker aspect was a great idea, but I personally didn't care for the guy that voiced him. I thought he sucked at the voice. I think he's a great actor, Michael Emerson, but I absolutely don't feel he was a Joker at all. The look of this guy too, he was trying to look too like a businessman versus a crazy psycho like the Joker is. And if you've ever heard me talk about Joker at all, my thought process of Joker is I like a mixture of Jack Nicholson's, I like a mixture of Cesar Romero's, I like a mixture of even Jared Leto's, Joker. I like all those combinations. I think they're all fantastic versions. And I know a lot of people don't agree with that, but I really don't give a shit. And, it's my thought process. It's my opinion. I get to think what the fuck I want. So I think all three of those guys mashed together is a great example of what a Joker should be. And because you got your sophistication with Caesar, you got your comical with, Jack Nicholson, and then, of course, you got your more sinister crazy with Jared Leto's version. And, I thought that would be a good combination. And this guy just did not fix that at all. I mean, besides having the somewhat green hair and having the, put the lipstick on, which to me was just the fucking stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Fruity as hell.
And it just was not the Joker. I'm sorry, that's not the Joker. So I was not super really impressed with the Joker at all, even though I love the character and I like the thought process of him being this like mass murderer and stuff like that. So I thought that was great. Him going on killing his doctor in that sequence, killing all those people, and then he has the toy maker. I believe it's supposed to be the toy maker. I'm assuming that is helping there with those 2 robot children. And it's really great. It's really fun. And I thought that leading up to the shootout at the Tunnel of Love, which was what a great place to put a shootout in Tunnel of Love, and then he's killing all these couples, and you're kind of like, wow, this guy really is fucking wacko. Like, wow, like this is really showing the Joker's true intentions. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wow, that's a way to show it. Great job, Frank Miller. Great job, Frank Miller, and your co-writer. Great job. I thought that was a very interesting touch on making the Joker seem even crazier. And, taking it to a whole new level. And he just keeps shooting them all. It's like without hesitation. It was absolutely hilarious to me. And I'm just like, wow, this has just gotten crazy. But Robin going up and like saving the those people on the roller coaster from the robot that got sent up there. I thought that was kind of interesting. Her fighting the toy maker, him getting squashed in the thing was really awesome. And then basically kind of the, Batman battling all those cops on top of the building when he's trying to get into where Joker is. I thought that was really badass. I thought Batman kicked ass. He was really great in that sequence. And did his own. And just like I said, a lot of great action. I thought this section of the film really was fun, leading up to Batman being framed for being a murderer. I thought that was really awesome. And I thought that whole thought process was a great writing. Joker having the bat star stuck in his eye, the Batarang, was absolutely hilarious. I was like thinking to myself, that thing is like about this long. I mean, that would have been fucking going through the back of his head, I feel, not just right there in his eye. I'm sorry, that just does not seem logical, but, it's a cartoon. I get it. It's a cartoon. But I still think that should have caused more damage than it did. But overall, I thought this whole section was really done well. I enjoyed it. I thought it was action-packed, and I thought there was a lot of great stuff to it.
Okay, Aston. Aston.
Yep.
It's your turn.
Sorry, zoned out for a sec. I got activity out here, so I got thrown off. Yeah, for me, I would have to piggyback off.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to excuse me.
You got me. Where are we? Where are we? Like I'm going through the green screen. Yeah, personally,
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to excuse me.
It was totally.
I had to drop that again. It's so good.
Hey man, I get it. I'm with you all the way. But piggybacking off Cyber, I didn't like this Joker, and it felt very bleeding heart liberal. The way they were the whole narrative around everything, from the Butchie new commissioner to even I feel we're not even talking about the commissioner enough at all. Like the whole setup was leaning towards Gordon playing a bigger role, and I feel they handled it kind of well. So this part where it comes to us seeing it unfold more, I expected more. Yeah, this Batman can, take a whooping, like you said, he could. But for me, it's also he looks very brutish, a little bigger than I would say in the comics. I think they could have done a little more with that, because I don't feel the inner conflict. It's dark, but I don't know. The first one just felt better. Everything felt better in the first one. So yeah, that's it for me on this one.
Andres.
Yeah, I this is my favorite part of the film. Just because the Joker being the Joker is really great. I mean, yeah, it's gonna take a while to like this version of the Joker. I agreed. He's nothing like the Joker, you know. He's not my favorite Joker at all. I think he's, nothing will beat Mark Hamill. Like, he's my favorite Joker. I mean, it's a unique take. I mean, at least he's a mass murderer, so at least we got that kind of Joker. So I appreciate that. Um, I mean, I thought it was just crazy seeing the deaths of people. Like, at least I appreciate we used the Joker gas and all that. I was very surprised that we got Catwoman here. Like, I totally forgot that Catwoman wasn't in the story, and so I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, so I thought it was really great, and yeah, I agree with everyone that that new commissioner is kind of like very annoying. It's like, oh, come on, like, the Batman is a hero. It's just because in this universe they're doing the Watchmen thing where all, like, except for Superman, all, like, superheroes are outlawed. So, like, that's like, Green Arrow, like, Wonder Woman is not here, like, it's because they all outlaw except for Superman, because Superman is working with the government, just like Dr. Manhattan. So, like, that made a lot of sense. I was like, oh, come on. So it was very annoying to have this, like, commissioner lady, and it's like, and Commissioner Gordon, I agree with Saber. Like, Commissioner Gordon, like non subtly tell her, like, Batman is your only hope. Like, despite my time as commissioner, Batman has helped a lot to keep Gotham safe, and that's how I know it. And so it's kind of crazy. She never understood what was Gordon trying to teach her, and that was just, like, so annoying, Anyway, the Cardinal attack was spectacular. That's such a great setting. It's just perfect for Batman Joker, like, versus, in a Cardinal of all things is great. I mean, yeah, I thought it was just, like, so cinematic, and of course the Joker getting killed, like, breaking his neck, is like, wow, very crazy. And that the whole love tunnel thing is, like, just adds another bonus to that scene. One thing I do appreciate before killing Joke happened, I appreciate that this story did kind of show the Batman Joker relationship. Like, it's almost like a bromance, basically, like this deep, sick, like, psychological bromance between two men. Like, Frank Miller did that first, and I really appreciate how they did it here, and in such a weird and bizarre way, which is crazy. And I think that this movie did a really good job of adapting to that. I like Kelly as Robin. I thought she's a good addition. She's not, she's not all, I mean, hey, she's a redhead. I mean, at least that's a good thing. She's a redhead. So, the toy maker is so creepy. Like, I'm surprised you guys ever talked about his death. Like, that was so brutal. Like, he got stuck in that, like, wire, and it was like, and blood. I was like, whoa, that was, like, crazy. And his two creations, those, like, two dolls, like, kids, like, even creepier. So, just wrapping up, I think this was a great section for the Joker. I wish we had more of the Joker in the plot. I kind of wish, but at the same time, we got Superman, so that's a good thing. But yeah, so overall, I really like this one.
Okay. So, moving forward, Superman deflects a Soviet nuclear missile, but is hit with the blast and badly injured, and he becomes like zombie Superman and shit, which was pretty intense. I wasn't sure where they were going with that exactly, but we got, like, zombie looking Superman there for a minute. It was pretty intense. And the detonation creates an electromagnetic pulse that wipes out all electro equipment in the United States and causes a nuclear winter. As Gotham descends into chaos, Batman, Kelly, and Gordon rally the sons of the Batman, the escaped remnants of the mutants, and the citizens of Gotham to restore order. Yindel, the commissioner, accepts that Batman has become too powerful to take down. She says, like, he's too big. You know, like, don't bother, or something like that. And while the rest of America is powerless and overrun with crime, Gotham becomes the safest city in the country, embarrassing the president's administration. Frustrated they couldn't bring stability, Superman and troops are sent to finally stop Batman. Batman and Superman agree to meet in Crime Alley. And I'll stop there. So, Aston, your thoughts on that passage of the film?
I feel this is actually handled well because it is the culmination of what if the Cold War really goes to the next step. So you have someone like Superman get taken out, and that zombie thing is, when that happened, that also got me. I'm like, hold up, what? Even though I read it, it still takes you out every time because you're so used to him. And it just felt realer because, like, I think we're young enough to remember what the Cold War was and how they put that in like every movie from Rocky 4 and onwards, and like there was that big scare. So for me, that was really conveyed well of what happens when you lose that one weapon and how Reagan really is taking advantage of a Superman. You know, now literally America is the police of the world. And I feel, though Frank Miller might over politicize stuff and like the narrative, as I said, it's very, you know, kind of bleeding heart liberal at times, which Frank Miller is. He goes against, he doesn't play either side. He goes against both, and that I liked that about it too, that it wasn't too clear. But in my don't give me the Biden, man, because the one thing that I didn't like take away from this was that this guy was trying to push his narrative in it, despite those the butchy chicks and stuff like that, which I don't remember so much in the graphic novel. I don't remember this much butch, but Reagan was done very well. That nuclear winter, and it was like the Warriors. It's like it felt like he took the Warriors, they took over the city and like did the right thing, which felt kind of campy and hokey to me. So yeah, I might have went into some details there, but yeah, it felt really campy. Like, oh, we're the warrior mutants, which you just inherited, and now they're just doing his bidding, and it became the safest place. It felt kind of campy for me, like that. It was too easy, considering the first movie really had him struggling.
Slice and dice.
Right.
I slice and dice, baby. I love that language. I love the language, that mutant language. It's great, dude.
I don't shiv, man. I don't shiv.
No shiv, baby. No shiv. All right. I'll be the pop culture guy. No shiv, baby. What's up?
Well, no shit to that. Yeah, no, Austin, you brought a really good point about the Cold War. Yeah, that's right. That's what I say. Yeah. Again, you know, you have to remember this story was in the Cold War in the 80s. I was kind of surprised they actually kept that in this movie. So that was really neat. I mean, it gives you, like, you know, Frank is trying to ground Batman in the real world. So using what was going on to, like, you know, give the Batman universe a darker edge, it makes a lot of sense. So I really appreciate they did that here. And I really like this version of Superman. The actor that voiced Superman, let me put him on here. Mark Valley, like, he's fantastic. He reminds me a little bit of Tim Daly from the Superman animation series, from the DCAU. I think they did a really good job of using Superman here in the story. And that scene, that nuclear thing, if you haven't seen Batman v Superman, that's the scene that Zack took from the story. Is like, because so much of that nuclear energy sucks out Superman's soul, soul energy from his body. He had to, like, he has to wait for the sun to come back and give his full body back to energy. You know, it's a very like shocking and a very visual scene. That's like, I kind of wish that Zack did more of in that movie, but what are you gonna say? Then what else? The mutants being like the hero, like being the sons of the Batman, right? The son of Batman is a really cool concept. I really like how they have the Batman symbol in their face. It's like kind of weird, and I agree with everyone. The language is so funny. I like those two guys. They're like like almost like Butthead and Beaver, and it's like, hey man, Batman's is cool. He's gonna beat the mutant leader, you know, from part 1. So it was really great to see them.
Yeah, Beavis and Butthead. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were a recurring thing. Yeah, it did feel like that. Like you were spot
Yeah.
on with that one for real, man.
Yes, it's so funny. Their name was Rob or Rob and Non or something like that. It's like, oh my god, they remind me of Butthead the Beavers. Sorry, folks.
Batman no shit. Batman no shit, baby.
So great. The humor in this part 2 is really great. I don't know how you guys not like this movie. I love the humor here, and those two characters are the best. So yeah, that's what I had to say. I like the sequence. You get a little bit of political sequence. Again, if you've seen RoboCop, it's like we're getting that, like this very satirical like commentary on the Cold War and all that. That's really fun. And funny enough, Frank Miller writes the next RoboCop sequels. If you care about that. But yeah, I really like the sequence.
Cyber.
Okay. I'm sorry. What endpoint did we go to, sir?
When Batman and Superman agreed to meet in Crime Alley.
Okay. So this section of the film, it's pretty much the story, kind of getting you ready kind of for the climactic end of the film. And this part probably was my least favorite of the film. I just felt it was kind of just exposition. It could have been cut out, like you were talking about earlier, cutting the fat from the film. And I think that we could have had just a small segment saying, oh, so we're going to go from point A to point B. And, I think that majority of this section kind of gives you a good idea of kind of what's going on, with the world at the time, especially because, as Aston had mentioned before, how this is very much during the time of, the Iron Curtain and stuff like that, Russian this, Russian that. And so it definitely was very much, about nuclear war and stuff like that. So the whole scene with Superman, taking that nuke and pushing it up to where he does, and he's like basically affected by it, which I kind of cracked up at it, for a second, because I'm like, why all of a sudden are we showing Superman all shriveled up from a nuclear bomb when basically kind of a nuclear bomb is almost like the sun to an extent? So I'm like thinking to myself, like, it really should affect him if nothing really affects him. So I was kind of like, okay, we're going a different direction, I see here. And I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting, having him shrivel up, and then after the kind of the smoke mushroom is starting to kind of dissipate a little bit, he comes down, we see him, and he touches the flower, and all of a sudden he starts to turn back into normal. And I was kind of cracking up going, okay, that's interesting. And him kind of being kind of somewhat weakened from it after that because it's a nuclear bomb, I thought was kind of interesting little take too as well. And visually, like we've talked about before, the animation in this film, it just isn't very, I thought, very entertaining or very good looking. It was very I don't know how to explain it. It's more of like just it's like they gave the concept to an artist and said, please draw this. And what they gave them was like half-assed attempt is kind of what it looks like to me. So the animation just isn't the greatest, I feel, in either film. But at the same time, I think I've seen a lot better animated films within the DCU, universe of the 16 films we've watched. I've seen better animation. So I just thought it was like they took the thought process of Batman the animated series and tried to like make it look different, and when it really wasn't. So I definitely thought that it could have had better animation throughout this sequence as well, especially when they drew Superman looking like he's a shriveled old man from the nuclear explosion. That was just kind of I was looking at it going, that just looks weird. It looks more like one of those really old like monks that hasn't like talked in like 3 years or something like that. They've taken this vow of silence and they're very malnutritioned. That's what he kind of looked like to me. So I was kind of like cracking up, like thinking like that kind of looks like what it looks like to me. And so as we go on, to the end point of where you stopped, it just basically very basic, I felt. And I thought overall it was okay.
Superman, remorseful for disregarding Batman throughout the years, asked him not to go through with the fight. Wearing a powerful exo frame and backed by Kelly and now amputated former superhero Oliver Queen, Batman fights Superman, using various tactics to make the fight even and banking on Superman feeling the after effects of the nuclear missile explosion and lack of sunlight. When Superman gains the advantage, Queen hits him with an arrow made with synthetic kryptonite, severely weakening him. Batman brutally beats Superman, claiming that he intentionally made the kryptonite weak, and tells Superman never to forget that Batman could have killed him whenever he wanted. Batman then apparently dies of a heart attack, while Wayne Manor self-destructs, and Alfred dies of a stroke. Superman holds Batman's body and angrily orders the soldiers to stand down. Stop there. And Andres, you start.
All right. So the battle of Superman and Batman, I don't care what you guys think. I think this is spectacular. Much better than Batman v Superman, Dawn of Superiority, Dawn of Suck You, Dawn of Fuck You. This was spectacular. And because the animation here just gave it much more spectacular. No offense, Batman v Superman. I just think this fight was much better. And you see Batman, his armor, suit, which is really cool. Superman, it's really cool to see how Batman used non-lethal things against Superman, or things that could hurt Superman. Of course, Oliver, Green Arrow using a kryptonite arrow, which was really cool. Superman, trying his best not to hit so hard, because if he hits hard on Batman, he's easily could be killed. I mean, come on, people. Superman's very powerful. Even with him being exposed for nuclear energy and all that, he's still powerful. And Batman using Gotham's power to electricity. Superman is really cool. And then also, during this time, you see Kelly running the big tank Batmobile. It's really neat. It's very action-packed. It's very funny when the soldiers come up, and then the tank starts starting up again, by Kelly, which is really cool. It's really cool to see that in action. And then, of course, one of the coolest scenes I never thought to see was seeing Superman do the Hulk thing. I don't know what he did. He grabbed the two cars or something, in box. Yeah, that was so cool. Boxing gloves. That's what I was gonna say. It was so awesome. I never saw that in any superhero thing besides the Incredible Hulk. I just mentioned. That was really cool to see that Superman and using that against Batman. That was awesome. And obviously, if you've seen the what is it? The famous line of Batman saying, "I want you to remember who beat you." Really great delivery by Peter Weller. That was really great acting from him, and I thought he really delivered that. And then all of a sudden he had a heart attack. I was like, whoa. And then poor Afrin. Come on, the MVP of this movie is Afrin. Afrin has to he has to be so patient and so terrible with this Bruce Wayne. And he was looking at the photographs before the destruction of Wayne Manor, and then he dies. I was like, what the hell? So R.I.P. Dark Knight Returns, Afrin. You're the best. May rest your soul, sir. You did your service to comic book fans and comic book community all around. So yeah, this section, it was spectacular. I think that this movie delivered this very fun, very iconic scene from the graphic novel. So I'm very curious what you guys think of this. And despite the animation not being on par with the other like DC animated movies, like you cannot admit that this part was really great action sequence, like really cool moments that they created for or adapted from the comic book.
Cyber. Come on down.
Come on down. I already answered.
Come on down, baby. This is a new topic.
What are we talking about now?
No, what? When did
we moved on to the Superman fight, the Superman Batman fight.
Okay.
Oh yeah. He's right. Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
I just read the whole outline of it.
Yeah.
Superman Batman fight. After the nuclear blast.
Yeah. No, I already talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about the nuclear blast, man.
I know we did, but then I'm asking you guys about the Batman Superman fight and Batman dying and all that, and then blowing up the mansion.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's why Andre was
bad.
talking about it, because I swear to God I didn't hear.
Because I didn't. I heard like the heart attack, but like
there you go, Cyber. Yeah.
So yeah,
after the heart attack.
This part, I mean, the Batman Superman fight was really fantastic. It very much made me think of the suit that Ben Affleck wore in Batman versus Superman when he's fighting Superman. It had the power armor and all that kind of stuff, and which is to keep making him more super strong to battle Superman, which I thought was really great. And the dialogue between them was perfect, exactly how you would picture it between Batman and Superman. Superman being, the high and mighty, and, Batman being the crime fighter behind the shadows and stuff like that, which was perfect. The tank that the girl Robin is driving was pretty sick. Definitely they tried to use some CGI animation with it, and it just did not click at all. It looked horrible. It was so obvious. And I didn't think the shape of the tank was anything that great. I thought it could have looked better, but at the same time, I think that it did a good job of doing some damage and stuff like that. So I thought that portion was decent when he's the Robin is using the tools and stuff in it to use it to battle things and stuff like that, which I thought was pretty cool. But overall, that fight between Batman and Superman was just super cool, and then Superman looking into his chest to see his heart and saying, to him oh, Bruce, your heart, and then him all of a sudden at one point grabbing his chest. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, where are they going with this? Like, they're gonna kill off Batman? Like, what the hell? And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, interesting. All right. And then the first thought process that came up to mind, I'm like, this is a plan. This is a plan. They got something planned here. And that was a whole thing that he was using that to help himself.
I love it, bro. Keep going. I love it.
And so I'm thinking to myself, yeah, nah, Bruce isn't dead. He's not dead. I'm sorry, are we going to the full end of the film, sir?
No.
Okay, I didn't think so. So that sequence, really badass. Him clutching his chest, crazy. And overall, it was a very great portion of the film. I really enjoyed it.
Aston.
What's there to say? I think growing up, you're either a Superman fan or a Batman fan. Forget more. Of course, there's Marvel and everything, but let's face it. You always if you're a Batman fan, this was your revenge porn. You saw him really bring it to Clark, really take it to him. So, and he had no answers. Clark had no answers, and there was a lot of power in he had him beat. So that's what beat the Batman heart failure. Just think about that. Of course, I felt like Cyber in that moment in time, because what is how he's gonna go out, and even though you read the graphic novel, it's still I feel when you revisit stuff like this with gaps, because it's been years since this came out, and honestly, I never rewatched it. So not so in my head, it's like, wow, that scene did hit. It hits a little different because even though he won, like at what cost? Like he already he to bring down Superman, and then like for him to like just grab his chest like something so human and mortal it wasn't it was impactful. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of this flick, but there are some really good moments in there which Miller kind of made good adult stuff. So yeah, that's it from me. Back to you in the studio, Jeff. We're all just munching tonight, like I noticed that every one of us is like on some serious snackage. We wasn't feeling it. Even Andre, who's the Batman guy, is like, come on, man, I need a snack, man. I can't deal with this.
I just ate some pasta when I came back. So I was like, hey.
In the aftermath, the world learns that Bruce was Batman. All his secrets are destroyed with the manor, and his finances disappear. As Superman leaves Wayne's funeral, he gives Kelly a knowing wink after hearing a faint heartbeat from Bruce's coffin. In a cave, Bruce is revealed to have faked his death to make preparations to continue his mission more discreetly, allied with Kelly, Queen, and his followers from the Slice and Dice Mutants and the Sons of Batman. Like Biff and Earl or whatever. Aston, you start, sir. The end of the film.
Okay. Him faking his death, I felt was like, it's poetic justice. Like you're gonna be glad the same way you're glad when you flip the page and see those other panels and like, yo, he's coming back. And we're going to the end now, right? We're going to the end. I'm just asking, Jeff, or are we not?
Yeah, to the end.
That it brings home what happened to Alfred. I feel, like that's the one thing. Like this movie for me was just like a lot of mortality, because the '80s is not just 20 years ago no more, bro. like it hits different, bro. Like all that stuff hits different, and yeah, he faked his death, but he's still old, man. Like he still went through all this. He's never gonna be the Batman he is, and because it's Frank Miller, you don't have that hope of like, what was his name, Terry McGinnis, who becomes Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
So I think it's a faithful adaptation, and if you're not I respect it. Like I said, I love it but I also can be objective about it. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to take in, because yeah, he does pull this, but Alfred's gone, man. Like you notice it because who's in the man, who's there for him, right? And Gordon, like I'm pretty sure there was that scene with Gordon, right, at the when they were all talking about her. I don't know if it was the wake or afterwards or in the press release or whatever they were doing, but yeah, like exposing Bruce Wayne as Batman. That was crazy. Like that was crazy, because I think there was only one other superhero where it went down like that, and it was Spider-Man, right? If I'm correct, because I don't remember any other guy getting exposed in that way. And to me, the way the world took it was also very interesting, and
yeah,
like just those final scenes, those moments where it's like, were you a friend? I'd like to think so. Like, mic drop, like like boom, sort of that's that sort of like Xavier and Magneto, Eric, like it's that sort of thing, and it does pull the movie out a bit, like it does the same way it pulls out the graphic novel, because you still didn't get me, Clark. You go back to the farm, you jackass. So yeah, I felt that part of the movie was. It was good. It wasn't one of the bad parts. It wasn't one of the dull parts. It didn't feel flat at any point. So, yeah, that's me.
Cyberneticshark, sir.
All right. very end of the film. Yeah. So I mean, you get your funeral sequence. You get Superman's there. Everyone's there doing the respect. We get that little kind of caption info from the news people saying that Bruce Wayne was Batman and that he's dead. And basically we get that wink from Superman to Robin, who's disguised looking at the grave. And as soon as Superman winked at her, I was like, I knew it. He was in cahoots with the whole thing. They talked about this prior, and they had made this all up to basically to solve their problems, both of them, without killing each other. And I think that's really what that wink was about, because why else would he wink? And so I think that the conclusion is okay, nothing great, but definitely interesting. I mean, we find out that Bruce is down below and he's building a new kind of like center for him and his bat wannabes, and him basically going to be training them to go out and do his work for him from now on, because he's now dead. So he could do this in peace, basically, without anybody bothering him anymore now. And so if he sends out other people to do it, they think they're just copycats. So I think that was kind of an interesting take, an interesting thing for them to end up taking it from. And I thought it was a very interesting ending. All in all, not too shabby of an ending.
Andres.
Yeah, very crazy ending. I mean, come on, you know Batman's not dead. I mean, it's always this. It's like Dark Knight Rises. This is like, come on, I know Batman's not dead. It was very funny to see like Superman hearing the heartbeat, and it's like, oh, he's dead. And apparently he made a deal with Batman. Okay, I'm doing my thing. You can do your thing, but keep it quiet. Like the other guys, the movie, the other guys, quiet as church mice. Okay, and then I don't interfere you, and that's what Batman does. So okay, that's great. And in the funeral, it was great to see the tombstone for Alfred. So that was really great. Rest in peace, my faithfully servant butler. So and then we get the scene with the Sons of the Batman and then the mutants and Kelly and Green Arrow together as like a team now, going into this, I guess, new Batcave, as you see with the monitors and all that, which was really neat. It's a good ending. I mean, I kind of wish we maybe make it a bit more less bombastic, but that's Frank Miller. Like Frank Miller is very bombastic with his ending sometimes. If you read his stuff, so yeah, makes sense. But yeah, I fairly enjoyed part 2. I thought it was better than part 1. I do agree, everyone. Like, I kind of wish this was a full movie. But I mean, you have to remember this was the trend of Harry Potter and Twilight, because they split their books. So I kind of wonder if they copied that, and it's like, because this was what, like a 7 or 10. Austin, remind me, this was like a
an hour. It's about an hour and some change. It's not even that long.
Yeah, like this is like 4 issues. They had to adapt. So I think you couldn't make it a full movie, but I appreciate they made it 2 parts. But yeah, so I really enjoyed this ending.
Okay, so I'll go around. Does anybody want to change their rating at all? Anybody at all?
No.
Aston, you need to give me your website in the private chat.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead,
Andres.
Go ahead, Andres.
I have a question. Can we rate like the full movie? Because I don't know, like the 2 parts together. Because I think it'd be fair to rate that.
Yes, I think.
Just as you asked for that, Andres, you can go ahead and do it.
All right. Or I go now, I guess.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Fine. All right. So part 2, I still give it a 9 out of 10. But for a full movie, I'll give it 8.5 out of 10. It's a good adaptation of a famous graphic novel that all of us have heard and read. Is it the best of the DC, ammunition movies? Not really. It's not my favorite Batman story. Let me say this out loud. I'm not a big fan of Frank Miller, so there's other Batman stories that I prefer. But I think this was a good adaptation. If you like Batman, it does it justice.
I'll give it a 7.5 overall for the 2 parts. What do you think, Cyber?
I give it a 6 overall. Like I said, 7 for part 2, 5 for part 1. So I would average it out to be a 6 completely for me. Like I said, I thought this film was definitely better than the first part, and I enjoyed it a little bit more.
Aston.
I'm the opposite of the homie, but it still winds up at 6. So our average is the same. Personally, I preferred the first one because it just felt like a fuller movie. The darker tone went from the beginning to the end. So that's why, because even the tone, and Cyber, I think you touched on this, because it really felt cheap in this one, or was it just me? Maybe the first one was darker, so it masked it a bit better. Like the animation style and stuff, at times it felt cheap. And that ending, for example, you don't even know that it's Arrow until he's got a bow out. You get what I mean? I'm like, why not just throw him in this costume or something? But it's a 6 for me overall.
I don't know why Oliver Queen fucking was missing an arm. That was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Just have to say that.
Apparently, it was supposed to be Superman because they were like, what was it? It's like last time we fought and stuff like that. I'm like, so out of everyone in the former Justice League, it was that guy who went against him? Really? Like that poor bastard, the guy with no superpowers. But that's kind of the thing why I feel DC was more adult always. It was always a little more serious than Marvel. It wasn't so campy. So yeah.
I agree with you, Austin. I feel like part 1 was more a Batman story, where here this felt like a more DC comic book like part. You know what I mean? Like part 1 was more like a Batman story, where here this felt like a more like a crossover comic book movie than
like
a
Batman Superman the movie, right? Because
it's more like that. Yeah. And so the shift of tones is more apparent, in this part. Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. Well, we are done with this DC animated film. It was a short film, so hence that small panel, short review, short recap, short breakdown. So I'm going to start plugs. I'm going to go to you, Aston. Let's look at your dope ass website. You used to get all the hoes, right?
Yeah, man. Hey, it's appreciated, man.
Vote for him.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you guys. Much appreciated. I wanted to
got no chill, bitch.
Hey man, that's how I do it. I got music coming out. I also have music before. I'm going to be updating the website. I'm going to definitely be adding my content and my YouTube channel, and I'm still a noob at everything, so I'm super turbo grateful to always be part of this stuff. But if you like R&B music and stuff, please do check out my R&B hip hop music. Please check out AskTheMike.com. I'll be having blogs, write-ups and stuff on there soon as well. So big shout out to all the fans out there who tune in and show support. Big shout out to Dom, who always tunes in lately, always live in the chat. Super thank you. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Thanks for having me. Awesome.
All right. Cyberneticshark, sir.
Well, as always, folks, if you want to join me here on the panel or as a moderator, you can go check out my solo content. You'll find me under Cyberneticshark on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, pretty much any social media posting area. That's where I'm at. You can see my most recent reviews there are Maxine, the third film in the Ty West trilogy of X series, along with the Jackpot trailer, which is a new Paul Feig film coming out. for Amazon Prime with John Cena and Aquafina. It's super funny. If you haven't seen those two, definitely check them out. My most recent short is Death Game, which is a 1977 film with Colleen Camp and Sandra Locke, who was one of Clint Eastwood's previous partners. She unfortunately passed away of breast cancer 2018. But yeah, that it's a great movie. It's basically the original film that Eli Roth did, Knock Knock, in I think 2015, is basically a remake of this film. Super fantastic, really fun. Definitely should check it out. If you got Shudder, check it out. It's on The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. Really fantastic and awesome film. Great cast too in it. Really fun. But yeah, if you haven't seen it with stuff, definitely check it out, people. Be having more stuff for you guys soon. More reviews, more trailer reactions. Currently at 1,137. So thank you for all the our new subscribers and old subscribers. Thank you very much, and keep on trucking.
All right, Mr. I'm the pop culture guy. 1,000 subscribers.
Yes. Yeah. It happened. I announced this last Tuesday or something, or last Thursday of last week, and it was so relieved. I want to say thank you, Cyber, thank you, Jeff, everyone in the MCU community for letting me into this great small friend / family. So this was really awesome to reach this mark. So please continue helping me reach more of the subscribers in the nearest future. So recently, content, I have a start of a new comic book series to read for my channel. That's Batman 89. So to pretty much a little bit of a Tim Burton appreciation, because the Beetlejuice 2 is coming out soon in September, 1 month, which is crazy. So it's going to be very soon. We'll get to that. So I'm going to get putting some Beetlejuice and Batman 89 stuff in this channel. So that's great. Plus, go to live, Jeff. I have set up already the next live stream review. It's going to be Guardians of the Galaxy for its 10th anniversary. So hopefully Jeff, me, and hopefully Cyber can join this Sunday, August 11th, on around 9 p.m. Eastern, 9:45. We'll start around 9 ish. So and then the second live stream in 2 weeks is going to be Batman 89. I make that official. Just going to announce that now. So be up to Beetlejuice too. So yeah. So again, thank you everyone for helping me reach this a milestone mark. I'm very excited to continue with MCU Bleeding Edge and have some more fun with She-Hulk, Massage Parlor, Joe Biden clips, and my favorite, the Japanese Spider-Man, the Tard Man, who's my favorite. Come on. So yes, USA. Come on, USA.
All right, and we go live on Friday for the Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
Okay,
at 9:35 p.m. Eastern. Can't wait. It's going to be a fucking exciting show. Probably 3 hours long, without a doubt. So we're going to do the extended cut version. So it'll be a long-ass show, but come check it out with us, folks. And in the meantime, we appreciate all of you. We love you. God bless you. And have a wonderful rest of your week and a great weekend. Hopefully we'll see you on Friday night.
Yep.
Peace.
Peace.